Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a sci-fi thriller movie called Perfect. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins inside the consciousness of someone who seems to be having an existential crisis. The person knows that he has various aspects in his personality, which give rise to thoughts that are wildly different from one another. He wonders how he can unify these thoughts, how he can combine these different personalities into a single being. It is obvious that the narrator has multiple personality disorder and is having a difficult time understanding who he is. Rather interestingly, the man also thinks that every evil the world encounters is nature's way of balancing itself. Similarly, when there is a conflict within himself, it is a chance to balance his multiple personalities, his thoughts, and heal his mental peace. The man then thinks about how love is the way to achieve this healing, but he also admits that he runs away from love and towards power because it lets him control his surroundings. The scene then shifts, and we see the person whose consciousness we were inside of a few seconds ago. Alex is a handsome young man who is raised by a single mother, Sandra. He has no idea who or where his father is, and Sandra is also not very present in his life. They are extremely rich, and she is mostly out, partying with her friends and battling her own demons. Currently, Alex is in a world of trouble as he calls his mother in an emergency. She immediately tells him that it's not a great time to call, and loud noises of a party can be heard in the background. Alex, however, has panic in his voice and tells his mother that he needs help. When Sandra asks what has happened, he gives a vague reply, saying that a friend came over and something happened. Sandra thinks that he might have broken something, but her son begins sobbing and asks her to immediately come home. The camera then pans away, and we see blood-soaked sheets. Alex has killed his girlfriend, and he seems confused as if he has no idea what has happened. After a while, Sandra returns home and takes control of the situation. She hushes down any news about the incident and decides to take radical action. She grabs Alex and puts him in her limo without informing him where they are going. Sandra seems extremely calm despite the fact that her son has recently unalived someone. While they are on their way, Alex asks if he is a bad person. She replies that he is not, but the young man immediately follows up with yet another question. He asks why all these bad things are happening to him. This seems to remind Sandra of something, as she looks deeply troubled, but she promises to explain everything to him once he is older, old enough to understand that he is an asshole. Soon enough, the duo arrives at their destination, which turns out to be a clinic. Sandra immediately leaves after dropping her son at the front gate, and poor Alex has to go ahead alone. The clinic seems like more of a retreat, and less like a correctional institution. It is a high-tech facility with doors that have retinal scanners, floor-to-ceiling glass windows, and a clean and modern lounge area. There are several extremely good-looking people lazily lying in the lounge. Some of the more athletic ones are taking a dip in the facility's swimming pool. It is then revealed that this place is a modern clinic where people with violent tendencies are treated through genetic engineering. Soon enough, Alex is guided to his quarters, which is an extremely modern, minimalistic, but luxurious room. It has an intercom device through which a female Asian voice welcomes him. There are also huge windows that open to stunning views of dense forest outside. Alex seems to love the place and immediately goes by the window to peep the view. I had to read that. I don't say things like that. There, he notices a strange room not far away from his. He asks what this room is for, and the intercom voice tells him that it is the selection room. Once Alex chooses to go ahead with his treatment, he will get various options in that room. That night, Alex falls peacefully asleep in his new room, but sees a very vivid and weird dream. He sees that everyone else present at the clinic is some sort of an artificial human being. They are all beautiful, perfect even, but something about them feels like they are a replica of the real thing. The following morning, Alex wakes up from this weird dream and goes about his day. He does his daily routine like skincare and brushing his teeth, but he's unaware that whoever is behind that intercom seems to be tracking his every movement. Nonetheless, Alex goes out of his room and is taken through a rigorous training regimen. He has to do push-ups, yoga, swimming, and weightlifting, things that he clearly isn't very good at. Later, while Alex is washing his workout clothes in the bathroom, he gets a strange vision. A man covered in ash is bathing in a small tub with a naked woman woman. The vision seems sensual, but there is something sinister in the eyes of the ash-covered man.
You want to be like me, huh?
Alex suddenly comes back to real life and finds his heart rate spiking. This is immediately picked up by the person behind the intercom. The Asian voice asks what's happening to him and urges Alex to open up about his situation. However, the young man lies. Despite seeing visions of the dead body of his girlfriend, he then walks out of the room, visibly panicking, until he runs into a beautiful girl in the lobby outside. The girl, who is clearly new to the facility, seems to be lost. She asks Alex to guide her and hands him the keys to her room. However, Alex is stunned by the fact that she looks like his girlfriend. He mindlessly asks what her name is, and she replies that it is Sarah. Alex then guides her through the facility and takes her to the designated room. As weeks pass by, the two get incredibly close and spend a lot of time together. Sarah says she is here on a journey, similar to Alex, and encourages him to choose a treatment pathway. On the other hand, he keeps seeing these weird dreams in which he goes back to the day where he murdered his girlfriend. We get a brief glimpse of that day. The two youngsters were making passionate love. Then something strange happened, and Alex lost control of himself. When he came back to his senses, his girlfriend was lying in a pool of blood. He opens up the intercom voice, telling her how he had no control over his body or thinking, but Alex didn't find it alarming and actually liked that feeling. Upon hearing this, the voice asks him to begin his treatment immediately. It alludes to his meeting with Sarah and points out that he might be a danger to her too. Furthermore, the voice adds that the treatment will include transgenic in vivo microbionic implants that will rid him of his innate personality. This is enough to trigger Alex into taking immediate action. He heads straight to the selection room and finds several bright knobs there. He presses one of them, effectively starting his treatment. A ray of bright beam then shoots up from the establishment towards the space. The very next day, Alex gets a kit which he has to administer all alone. The kit is simple, as it only contains a sharp scalpel and a silicone implant. The voice guides him through the process, and Alex finally begins his treatment. He draws a small square under his left eye, then takes the sharp scalpel. In a rather painful way, he cuts out the square block of flesh from underneath his eye. Once that is done, he puts in the silicone in the hole that he created seconds ago. The voice then claims that he is one step closer to attaining perfection. In the following few days, the treatment seems to work great, as Alex doesn't get any visions. He feels calm and in great control of his emotions. However, the youngster soon gets bad news when he finds Sarah by herself in the garden outside. She tells him that they need to continue their transitions separately. Sarah feels like she is way ahead in this path of getting better as compared to Alex, who seems to have lagged behind. Later that day, Alex gets a video call from his mother. She asks if he is doing good, and the youngster replies that he is trying his best to be good. From their conversation, it is also revealed that Sandra had once visited this facility herself. She doesn't clarify why or when she visited the clinic, but admits that she also needed help once upon a time. As she begins sobbing, Alex notices a strange lump on his left forearm. It feels itchy and almost looks like some strange creature is growing inside him. Suddenly, he gets yet another vision, and it is more clear than any vision he's had yet. He sees himself covered in ash, lost in some animalistic trance. He seems to have abducted his girlfriend, who is tied to a tree in front of him. In a shocking twist of events, he sets fire to the tree, burning his girlfriend alive. It is now obvious that Alex has a side to his persona that is incredibly violent and predator-like. This is why he was sent here, to make him into a normal human being. Despite the initial stages of the treatment going well, the poor youngster gets sucked back into his old ways. A combination of Sarah ditching him and his violent visions push back all the progress he has made. This forces him to take more microbionic silicone implants. His second transition stage includes an implant for his forehead region. Thus, he cuts a large rectangle into his forehead flesh and inserts the silicone segment. He will become a bagel head. Each implant seems to push down his violent side, but only for a few days. The visions return and get more brutal with each stage. Alex sees himself in a throne, sitting inside a room covered in red light. The thirst for harming people doesn't seem to leave him at all. As weeks pass by, Alex gets more implants all over his face. He eventually starts to look like a cyborg, with deep scars around his right eye and forehead. One afternoon, Alex, now completely unrecognizable from his previous self, is having an apple in his room. The camera pans to the other side of the intercom, and we see the person behind the voice. It is an Asian woman named Ozana, who seems to have have some past connection with Alex. Soon afterwards, she is joined by the founder of this clinic, Dr. Hamilton Price. The duo watches on as Alex devours the apple in a disgusting and primal way. It almost looks like he is eating flesh and not an apple. Later that night, Alex has yet another episode of his visions. This time, it is more detailed and violent, as if the events happened in real life. He sees himself sitting on a throne in the middle of a thick forest. In front of him is a group of men who seem to revere him as some sort of a god. Moments later, a beautiful, lean woman walks towards Alex, holding a strange crystal in her palms. She climbs up the ladder and bows down in front of the throne. She then hands him the crystal, and Alex gulps it down in one go. This causes him to transform into a huge monster. In a shocking twist, the woman then looks up, and we see that she is none other than Ozana. She looks in horror as the monstrous Alex grabs her neck and lifts her up. He then kills her with one swift swing of his arm. Back in the real world, Alex falls down to the ground. He is in deep pain and is incapable of separating the fictional world from the real one. Ozana and Dr. Price watch on as he writhes in pain, begging to get more silicone implants. It is now clear that Alex is addicted to the temporary relief that the implants provide. Ozana is worried for him and thinks the treatment should be stopped here, but Dr. Price, who is an intense man, refuses to do so. He thinks they should push Alex to the brink of his mental limits. Dr. Price then enters Alex's room and introduces himself. Seconds later, he drops a shocking truth bomb on the youngster. He reveals that Alex's mother was one of his first patients in this facility. He helped her, and in the process, the two fell in love with each other. Alex was the result of their love, and Dr. Price is his biological father. The youngster is left speechless by this revelation and forgets his pain for a moment. Then, Dr. Price encourages him to get the final stage of treatment that will ascend Alex to the perfect being. The youngster agrees and soon lies flat on the floor. Following this, Dr. Price makes a square incision right over Alex's heart. He takes out a large chunk of flesh and inserts a clear, glowing silicone implant in the gash. This is the last and most advanced piece of microbionic enhancement available. Seconds later, Alex slips into yet another vision in which he sees himself eating a baby. He is covered in ash from head to toe and seems to be enjoying this brutal act. The scene abruptly shifts to several moments later, and we see Dr. Price holding his creation, the perfect being. Alex, now a shriveled piece of flesh that looks like a mutated baby, is laying in his arm. However, in some alternate universe, a healthy Alex can be seen running around on a beach. He seems to be happy and free of all the violent thoughts that once plagued him. The fuck? What? What? Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.